Jesus and Joe Dispenza, and how sin is not what you think it is, and how this information can absolutely change your life the way it did mine. What in the hell is this guy talking about? Let me tell you. Here's what it's all about, guys. For so many years, I lived my life in the evangelical church world, and maybe some of you have deconstructed from such a world. Thankfully, I was able to deconstruct from all of that without deconstructing from the spiritual, from what I believe is the divine and the power that flows throughout this entire universe. Now, what I was taught growing up is that we're all sinners. There was even this sermon that I remember from way back in the day that we were taught to embrace called Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. And it shaped my development. It shaped who I was and how I saw spiritual things, how I saw God, God's self. And it caused me to believe just what that title of that sermon was, that we were sinners, people who are falling short, and we were in the hands of an angry God that judges us all unless we make the right choice, do the right thing, and solve it all through Jesus. And I still believe in Jesus, and I think Jesus has some great things that he offers us and he gives us, but I see God in a whole new way now, in a whole new light. And Joe Dispenza, strangely, is one of the early formers of my belief system that helped me to kind of get a hold of all this. Here's what Joe says basically in a nutshell. Joe says if you want to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. And he said you do that by changing four things essentially. He said you have to change the way you think. You start by changing your thoughts, because whether you know it or not, you're running on about 90 to 95% of subconscious thinking. Only about 5% is critical thinking, where you're actively thinking in a new direction. So you got to get in there and take out those old beliefs you have. If it's beliefs like I had about what God looks like, how this universe operates, how it works, what I looked like. For so long I felt unworthy and unable to change my situation or change my life, because I was convinced that I was unworthy, that I wasn't enough. So you got to change those thoughts. And you have to change your feelings about those thoughts, because emotion's really what drives our life, even more than our thoughts. How we feel about life. Do we feel good or do we feel bad? It drives how we think about life. In fact, in the very first book of the Bible, we're told that God is good. And I love what Wayne Dyer says about this. If it's good, it's God. And if it's not good, it's not God. If you're not feeling good, that's not God. So God is all for you. God is permeating this universe, and every avenue and corner of it permeates you. You're divinely connected. You can change it all when you change those thoughts, you change those feelings. And then Joe would say, thirdly, you start to change your behaviors, the way you act. And when you start changing your behaviors, guess what changes? Your beliefs. You start to see a new reality is possible. And when you change those four things, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and beliefs, you create a new identity, a new personality, a new personal reality. You create a new you. Now, what does this have to do with sin and Jesus? Well, I was taught I was a sinner in the hands of an angry God, that I fell short, that I missed out on something big because I was not worthy to get it, and I needed forgiveness of that. Well, the word sin in the original language of the ancient scriptures doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean you're lacking something. It doesn't mean that you're missing something. It actually is a word that meant to miss the mark. It's an archer's term. When you shoot an arrow at a target and you miss the target, that literally would be said in their language of that day, he sinned. He missed. He didn't quite hit where he was supposed to be. Now, what does that mean? It means your arrow was not aligned with the target. And what Jesus teaches us is how to align our arrow with the real target in life. And that's our eternal soul. That's our spiritual you that lasts forever and ever. And is fully, completely right now at this moment, however you feel, however you think, whatever your programming tells you, that you is connected to God, is connected to source. And you are not lacking anything because God is not lacking anything. And if that starts to make sense to you, you can change your life, because you begin to see you're unlimited in power, you're unlimited in worth, you're unlimited in ability, you're unlimited in resources and time. If you will look around you in nature, this is one thing I love about Wayne Dyer. He says, look at nature. Nature is abundant. Right here behind me, that's Lake Michigan, guys. Do you know if you want to drive the length of this lake, it takes, I drove 3 hours yesterday, a few weeks ago, and that was about half the lake. It's about a 5 to 6 hour trip just to drive the length of Lake Michigan. There's so much water out here right now, so much abundance, that you can never exhaust all of it. You can never do away with all of it. You can never back enough dump trucks in here to empty it all out. That's the way the universe works. That's the way God works. And that's who and what you are connected to. You just have to start to believe that. Hey guys, morning. And once you start to believe that, once you start to get a hold of that, you'll change it all. Sin does not make you a person who is unworthy of great things. Sin just means you need to realign with who you really are. You, as Wayne Dyer says, are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a human experience temporarily right now. And when you start to get a hold of that, you start to change your life for the better. Good morning. How are you guys? And once you begin to change your life, because you've changed your beliefs and you've changed your feelings and you've changed your behaviors and you've changed your identity, there's nothing that's off the table for you. I want to set you free today. If you grew up like I did in that church world that taught you you're less, you're not less. In fact, you're more, and you're great, and you're divinely made, and you're divinely connected, and you are unlimited. If you need some help getting this all figured out, I invite you to subscribe below. There's some links below if you want to talk about working with me one-on-one. I'd love to help you on your own journey to being the best you've ever been. It can change your business. It can change your relationships. It can change your income. It can change your life, just like it's changed mine. And I'd love to help you do it. Go be great today.